All right, that was a little preamble to Born to Run, the legendary Bruce Springsteen.
Yep.
If you got tax problems, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is not a good time to run away from your tax problems. This is a time to confront them head on, okay? We talked a little bit last week about the different options. If you have IRS debt, if you've got unfiled tax returns, things that you can do in terms of offers in compromise, installment agreements, potential penalty abatement, maybe even get into currently not collectible status. And the reason I say right now is a great time to attack your tax debt is because you may have lost your income. You may have had to deplete your assets. And when the IRS is looking at your collection potential in terms of what they're going to be able to get from you if they were to try to collect, that's what they look at. That's what they look at when looking at an offer in compromise or an installment agreement. And so you may be down on your luck right now. You may not think you have the money to hire somebody like me or some other tax resolution expert to solve your issues. But I can tell you, if you can scrape it together to try to hire somebody, there may never be a better time, and the amount of money you might be able to save will far outweigh whatever you're going to have to pay to hire somebody like me.
Does the IRS have a heart?
Absolutely.
Really?
The people that, they're bad apples, but generally, having worked for the Department of Justice, tax division, the IRS, I worked very closely with various people at the IRS, and 99.9% of those people, they want to get the right result. They're not looking to punish people who have had tax issues, and just, whether it be tax debt, unfiled returns. They're trying to get people back into compliance. We talk about that a lot. Back into compliance. What does that mean? It means getting your returns filed. It means figuring out a payment plan. They don't want to levy wages. They don't want to levy bank accounts. I mean, that's really more work for them. They'd rather get you voluntarily repaying your tax debt, even if it's less than what you really owe, or if it's never going to, basically pay it off in full under the statute of limitations. Generally, they have 10 years from the date of assessment to collect your tax debt administratively. So by not filing, that's another issue, is you're not starting that clock of collection. Mm-hmm. If you sit back and let years go unfiled, that clock doesn't start to tick. So I've dealt with people who they haven't filed their tax returns because they know that they're going to owe. So they're like, oh, well, I can't file this because it's showing I owe $50,000 to the IRS. Well, that's the worst mistake you can make, because then you're getting not only the statute of limitations extended, but you're also going to face failure to file penalties by not filing on time. So the best advice I've given people all the time is make sure you file your return on time. Even if you can't pay what you owe, file the return, which brings us to this year and this year's deadline, July 15th. Needs to be on everybody's radar. I know people are hunkered down right now and starting to kind of reopen. And so I just really hope that people, after Memorial Day, they, really make an effort to make sure they get their taxes filed on time, whether it be July 15th or file an extension to file in October. I will say, though, if you do file an extension, you want to at least have a good estimate of what you're going to owe come October so that you can make an estimated tax payment before July 15th. Because the extension is only the extension to file. It's not an extension to pay. Okay? So if you end up filing in October and you owe money, then you're going to pay additional penalties on top of that.
Oh, see, and I never got that.
Yeah,
it's not an extension to pay.
Correct.
I thought it was an extension
to file. No, it's an extension.
Really?
Now, what the government did with the corona relief is they not only extended the filing deadline, they also extended the payment deadline, recognizing that people may not be in a position to get to their tax accountant, their CPA, their tax lawyer to get their returns done. And so, again, that's a pretty important piece.
Well, the important piece to me is letting people know. Now, you know me, St. Louis, smash. I had nothing but tax problems, about 13 years worth, to tell you the truth. And it started when the stock market crashed. I thought I'd get that back because the stock market always goes up and down. I lost my job 6 months later. Clear Channel Communications, now known as iHeart, fired 2,600 people across the country in a 2-day period. I was one of the 60 in St. Louis. Couldn't find no work after that. Luckily, I had Smash Band to fall back on, so I was able to sustain a decent level of living. Then my wife gets sick with the cancer. I get worse with the diabetes. She eventually passes. Who knows what my timetable is here. But boy, I tell you what, I used to be on top of the game as far as doing taxes and all that kind of accountant type stuff and all that's concerned. And then I went on my decline. And one day, I started driving up and down Manchester Road when I moved back to St. Louis. And I'm driving, I see the truck. St. Louis tax lawyer, stltaxlawyer.com. And I see it, and I thought, go in there, because the Lord's not making you drive by this place this many times to not go in there. So, crazy part about it is one day I'm sitting at Subway, because I love Subway, especially the bacon, turkey, avocado wraps. Whoo! Spinach as opposed to the red. Anyway, so I'm in there, and I see the truck pull up. I'm thinking to myself, all right, because I'm a hellion. I'm a heathen to a certain extent, but I believe in God. And I'm thinking, Lord, you're not doing this. Are you? Is he coming to Subway or is he going next door to Rib City? All right. Boom. Mark comes into Subway, sits, 4 booths down from me. And I looked at him and I said, are you the St. Louis tax lawyer? Yeah. I said, listen, I got a situation, man. Can I make an appointment with you? He said, you mind if I just come on down? So the appointment was made. Boom, right there. And we began this, just to use the term, journey into fixing my situation. Now, it don't matter how you got to bad. What matters is how you fix it so it ain't bad no more. That's why I'm saying St. Louis tax lawyer Mark Milton, stltaxlawyer.com.
And remember, the choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisement. No, it really was. I always joke with my wife. My wife gives me grief for eating out all the time for lunch.
Yeah.
And generally, I try to eat with somebody. That's like, you read about business development networking. It's like the never eat alone. So I obviously, I was planning to, I think, maybe even take my lunch to go that day. And when you came up to me, I was like, yeah, let's sit down, chat a little bit. Not knowing you were the Smash right away. I knew the voice, but no, I've really enjoyed getting to know you. And, I find that most of my clients have faced similar situations that you have. And it really is, that first step is sort of, I've said this before, like, admitting you kind of need help, have a problem.
Yeah.
And once you do that and you turn it over to a professional to kind of work out your issues, there is a certain sense of relief, calm.
It is, man.
Yes.
It's a yoke taken off of you,
Right. And every situation is different, and what's going to be needed in each situation is different. But that's why I like to sit down early on with my clients and really, sort of do a deep dive into, what are the issues, what are the complications, what caused this, like for you. I mean, you had the trifecta of job loss, spouse with cancer, economic, depression, recession, whatever you want to call it. So, no, it's been great to work with you. And one of the things we're going to do on this show is we are going to take questions from the audience. And so if anyone has a tax question they'd like us to address on the show, you can email me at mark.milton@stltaxlawyer.com. Again, that's mark.milton@stltaxlawyer.com. We will keep your identity confidential. We won't disclose your name or your address, and we'll discuss your problem here on the air. And I want to just take the minute we have here to give a shout out, to say thank you to all of our veterans out there. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Both my grandfathers served in World War II, and I've gotten to know many veterans over the years, and so I really hope everyone takes a minute this weekend to say thank you to a veteran and to reflect on those that lost their lives paying the ultimate sacrifice.
That is Mark Milton. It's the Mark Milton Show. We'll catch you next time.